Welcome to epicspeak. Today I've got something really exciting for you. 40 phrasal verbs that you can start using at work right away. But here's the twist. Instead of just giving you the definitions of these phrasal verbs and examples, I'm going to bring these verbs to life through 2 short engaging stories. Then we'll break them down with examples so you can master them in no time. So ready to sound more professional? Let's dive in. Here's the first story. At the annual board meeting, the CEO called on the department heads to lay out their strategies for the upcoming year. First, the marketing director pointed out that sales had gone up by 15% since they rolled out their new campaign. She suggested carrying on with the same approach, but also looking into new markets to expand. Next, the finance team went over the budget, noting that they had successfully cut down on unnecessary expenses. They proposed setting aside funds for future investments and drawing up a contingency plan. The CEO agreed and asked them to follow up on this proposal. Finally, the HR director brought up the issue of employee engagement, recommending that the company work on improving internal communication. The CEO took up the suggestion and promised to figure out ways to bring about positive changes in the work culture. After all topics were wrapped up, the CEO thanked everyone for their contributions and closed out the meeting. Now here's a detailed explanation of each phrasal verb used in the story with examples. Call on. Call on. To ask someone to speak or take action. The CEO called on the department heads to present their reports. The teacher called on a student to answer the question. Lay out. To explain or present something clearly. The marketing director laid out her plan for the upcoming year. The architect laid out the blueprints for the new building. Point out. To highlight or mention something important. She pointed out that sales had gone up by 15%. He pointed out a mistake in the report. Go up. To increase in value or number. Sales had gone up by 15% in the last quarter. The price of gas has gone up this month. Roll out. To introduce something new, such as a product or a service. They rolled out a new marketing campaign. The company plans to roll out its new product next month. Carry on. To continue with something. She suggested carrying on with the same approach. After a short break, the team carried on with the project. Look into. To investigate or explore something. They decided to look into new markets. We need to look into the cause of the delay. Go over. To review or examine something. The finance team went over the budget. Let's go over the details before the meeting. Cut down on. To reduce the amount of something. They had successfully cut down on unnecessary expenses. We need to cut down on our energy consumption. Set aside. To reserve something such as money or time for a specific purpose. They proposed setting aside funds for future investments. We should set aside some time to review the proposal. Draw up. To prepare something in writing, such as a plan or document. The finance team will draw up a contingency plan. They are drawing up a contract for the new employee. Follow up on. To check the progress of something or continue a previous action. The CEO asked them to follow up on the proposal. I'll follow up on the email to see if we get a response. Bring up, to mention or raise a topic for discussion. The HR director brought up the issue of employee engagement. She brought up an interesting point during the meeting. Work on, to put effort into improving something. The company will work on improving internal communication. He needs to work on his presentation skills. Take up, to accept or begin something, like a task or responsibility. The CEO took up the suggestion immediately. She decided to take up yoga to reduce stress. Figure out, to solve or understand something. The CEO promised to figure out ways to bring about positive changes. We need to figure out a solution to this problem. Bring about, to cause something to happen. They aimed to bring about positive changes in the work culture. The new policy brought about significant improvements. Wrap up, to finish or conclude something. After all topics were wrapped up, the CEO thanked everyone. Let's wrap up the meeting by summarizing the main points. Close out, to formally end or conclude an event or activity. The CEO closed out the meeting with a final thank you. The manager closed out the project with a final report. Take up, again. Take up means to discuss or return to a matter later. We'll take up this issue again at the next meeting. The team took up the conversation after lunch. Here's story 2. During the quarterly review, the COO brought forward the launch date of the new product. The production team had come up with innovative designs that cut out unnecessary features, making manufacturing more efficient. The COO asked the team to move ahead with production, but also to check in on quality control regularly. The IT manager then filled in the board on the recent cybersecurity updates. He mentioned that they had fought off several threats in the last quarter and were prepared to deal with future incidents. However, the finance department needed to account for the increased costs of these upgrades. Later, the HR director called off the previously scheduled training due to budget cuts. Instead, she suggested they put together a smaller workshop. The CEO asked her to run through the revised plan before approval. Before the meeting broke up, the CEO encouraged the team to stick to deadlines and look over any pending issues. He also advised the team to think through possible risks and sort out any complications in advance. Bring forward, to move an event or date to an earlier time. The CEO brought forward the launch date. The meeting was brought forward to Monday. Come up with, to think of or create something new. The team came up with innovative designs. She came up with a brilliant idea for the project. Cut out, to remove or eliminate something. They cut out unnecessary features from the design. The editor cut out the irrelevant sections of the article. Move ahead, to proceed with something. The COO asked the team to move ahead with production. Despite the challenges, we'll move ahead with the plan. Check in on, to monitor or visit someone to see if everything's fine. They will check in on quality control regularly. The manager checked in on the team to ensure progress. Fill in, to inform someone with details or updates. The IT manager filled in the board on cybersecurity updates. Can you fill me in on the latest developments? Fight off. To successfully defend against something, often negative. They fought off several cybersecurity threats. She fought off a cold before her big presentation. Deal with. To manage or handle a situation or a problem. They're prepared to deal with future incidents. We need to deal with this issue as soon as possible. Account for. To explain or justify something, especially financial costs. The finance department needed to account for increased costs. We must account for every expense in the report. Call off. To cancel an event or an activity. The HR director called off the scheduled training. The outdoor event was called off due to bad weather. Put together. To assemble or create something by combining elements. She suggested putting together a smaller workshop. The team put together a detailed proposal. Run through. To go over something briefly or quickly. The CEO asked her to run through the revised plan. Let's run through the agenda before the meeting starts. Break up. To end a meeting or a gathering. The meeting broke up after all the items were discussed. The board meeting broke up at noon. Stick to. To continue following a plan or decision. The CEO encouraged the team to stick to the deadlines. We should stick to the original schedule. Look over. To quickly review or check something. They were advised to look over any pending issues. I'll look over the report before submitting it. Think through. To carefully consider all aspects of a situation. The team was asked to think through possible risks. We need to think through all the potential outcomes. Sort out. To resolve or organize something. They needed to sort out any complications before moving forward. We'll sort out the technical issues before the launch. Give up. To stop trying or abandon an effort. Despite challenges, they didn't give up on their goals. She refused to give up on her dream of starting a business. Keep up with. To stay informed or maintain pace with someone or something. The team needed to keep up with the market trends. It's hard to keep up with the fast changes in technology. Turn down. To reject or decline something. The board turned down the proposal for additional funding. He turned down the job offer because it didn't meet his expectations. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope these stories helped you pick up some new phrasal verbs to use at work. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more such language tips. Drop a comment below with your favorite phrasal verb from today's video. Or even better, try using one in a sentence. I'll see you soon.